On a random day in the Wayland-Yutani system in Jackson, which is apparently a human colonization in Saturn, Rain wakes up for her day shift as a farmer. The place is filled with humans as well as robots, and Rain's brother, Andy, is also a slow-minded synthetic. The system has a quota of working hours that humans have to fulfill to get their travel documents, and they can go to Ivaga, a place where freedom and independence lie. However, when Rain goes to get her documents, she is told that the quota has been increased and she needs to give 5 or 6 more years. While Rain and Andy are sitting in silence, Rain gets a video mail from Tyler, her ex-boyfriend, to come by the trailers as he has something urgent to share. There she meets Tyler's sister, Kay, his cousin Bjorn, and Navarro, who we don't get to know the exact relation of. These guys found a decommissioned ship floating on top of their heads in space and detected some sleeping pods in it. They need to be in cryosleep to reach Ivaga since it takes 9 years. They plan on stealing the pods, then relying on false hopes, and want Andy for this job since he speaks Muther and can only access the ship. Rain decides to leave when Bjorn talks low about Andy being a damaged synthetic that her father picked from the trash. But Tyler stops her, telling her this is their only chance, promising she won't even have to leave their ship, Corbellin. When they reach the ship in space, they realize that it is more of a decommissioned outpost than a simple ship. Nearing it, they realize that they have 36 hours till the station strikes the ring, but Tyler is confident that they'll be in and out in 30 minutes. Rain takes Andy to a side, confirming if he is okay with doing this, but Andy tells her he only has one directive written by her father, to do what's best for Rain. They use Andy's fingerprint to open a narrow pathway to crawl into the station. While crawling, the gravity generators keep purging themselves every few minutes, giving them a funny feeling on the insides. Andy helps Tyler in getting access to the pods and turning on the system of the ship while Bjorn keeps satisfyingly get hit due to the random purges. When they find out that the pods aren't charged enough, Tyler decides to look for cryofuel in the station. Bjorn's attitude to Andy concerns Rain, so Navarro and Kay tell her that a synthetic ordered to seal a mine with a gas leak with Bjorn's mom in it. Synthetics are not functioned to harm humans, but they may choose sacrificing a few for the sake of majority, hence Bjorn's sore attitude. Navarro places the ship to get the pods ejected into theirs while Kay pukes, revealing she is pregnant, but Tyler doesn't know. The station activates to tell them that it has 2 verticals, Romulus and Remus. They guide Navarro to use this as their exit station, so she moves Corbellin there. Andy tries to lighten the mood, making Bjorn tell him to shut up, and reveal how Ivaga doesn't allow synthetics, so he is not going with them. He will guard the pods and then return to Jackson. Andy painfully smiles, agreeing to do it if it's best for Rain. Rain feels the guilt of not having the heart to tell Andy herself. They reach an abandoned lab where Bjorn picks up the taser-like weapon to jokingly threaten Andy, but he is about to fall into a deep hole in the ground. They also notice a synthetic burned and half-destroyed lying there lifeless. Looking around, they find a cryo chamber and decide to pull out fuels, but the moment they do, an emergency lockdown is imposed, which even Andy cannot access. Navarro and Rain have to leave Corbellin to help them out, which breaks Tyler's initial promise of Rain not having to leave it, and another guarantee that they'll be in and out to check the dead synthetics module to transfer credentials to Andy and open the door. Meanwhile, Tyler keeps pulling out the fuel tanks, unbeknownst that he is bringing some other creatures out of their cryosleep. The dead synthetic wakes up, but Navarro helps Rain out. Taking the chip, she gives it to Tyler to put in Andy. As Andy reboots, an octopus-like creature comes out of one of the chambers and swims in the foot-level water in the room. Ignoring Andy, it swims around the other 2, making them alarmed hearing the swimming motion. The girls think Bjorn is joking till they see them in chaos as multiple of those creatures attack the guys. Rain tries breaking the door, but Andy wakes up in time to get them out. They close the second door timely on the creatures, but one gets out and lands on Navarro's face while choking her neck with its tail, making it impossible for them to take it off. Andy intervenes that the creature is not trying to kill her, but it is definitely up to something. The module seems to have upgraded his AI to a smarter one. Not having an option, they plug in the half-brown synthetic, Rook, to find an answer. He tells them to run and kill her if they love her. The parasitoid is implanting a seed in her that will change her DNA and have a xenomorph grow out of her. The body of such xenomorph is hung up above them currently. The xenomorph wreaked havoc in their ship until one of the left officers shot it dead, but it had acid for blood, so the deep hole through the floors of the ship below it. Rain suggests freezing the creature's tail with cryofuel to get it off without choking her. It works, but Rook mentions a high probability that the creature has implanted the seed already. Andy tries to stop Bjorn from taking Navarro to the ship, but Bjorn hits him and rushes off. Rain helps Andy while Tyler stays with her. Andy rushes to get Bjorn, but is late in stopping the closing of doors. Bjorn decides to leave without the 3 and ejects the ship, But his impatience cost him the chaos, as Navarro's indeed been infected and her chest opens in a few minutes with a newborn alien creature coming out of it. Her trembling made the ship take off in weird directions and hit the station multiple times before settling. When it does, they only have 47 minutes till the station strikes the rings, since its axis got moved a few degrees. The two decide to rush to Romulus Bay, where their ship is now, while Andy disappears to go to the Rook. The parasitoids have spread from the lab, so they cannot go to the other side. Andy finds out his old directive has been overridden by a new one and gets back to Tyler and Rain. He tells them the parasitoids track sound and heat, so while they match the room's temperature with body temperature, they have to ensure not to panic or stress out, as they can raise body temperature. On the other hand, Kay walks around and finds a growing cocoon on the ship. Bjorn decides to use that taser to burn it, but forgets about acid for blood as the gun gets burned. Kay tells him to run, but he slows down, making the sting coming out of it hit Bjorn, and then acid is spit out of it to burn Bjorn's chest and kill him. Kay tries to open the door, but the key is falling, so she tries talking to Tyler, who is supposed to be silent right now. He quietly talks to her and helps her as she panics about the monster and then falls from a height trying to escape it. No matter how much he tries, his body heats up, making Andy cue them to run. He calculates the perfect time for Tyler to pass a door before it closes to keep the parasitoids out. Kay wakes up and manages to avoid the xenomorph by saying he doesn't have eyes. However, when she tries opening the door, the access denied gives a loud alarm. The rest reach the other side, but Andy doesn't open the door, as the xenomorph would have gotten out and killed them all. So he lets Kay die. Rain, realizing his directive has changed to something else. Andy tells them he'll complete the task invested upon him by Rook, and then Rook will clear the Corbellin for them so they can leave for Ivaga while he returns to Jackson. They reach Romulus Beta Lab, where there is the genome of xenomorph that can alter human DNA to accelerate or slow down its metabolism at will. The synthetics manage to create it perfectly and have successfully tested on rats to serve as evolution. They are about to leave when they see the xenomorph hunting them outside. Andy gives them the pulse rifles that have 450 rounds and can kill xenomorphs, but also tells them not to shoot, as the acid will open a hole to vacuum since they are on the bottom floor. However, xenomorphs will see it as a threat and won't charge. When they leave, the rat they were seeing the successful tests on dies with a burst of blood. Outside, the pathway is filled with parasites feeding on the attacked people on the ship. Tyler hears Kay's voice and rushes to help her. Her excessive bleeding is why she hasn't been implanted yet, but she needs help. Andy gives them the injection since it works on rats, but Rain thankfully doesn't find it right and decides they take her back quietly and put her in a cryopod to freeze her till they can help her. They rush to the elevator, but the xenomorphs attack them. Tyler gets to be the sacrifice this time, while Andy is attacked too. Rain and Kay manage to get on the elevator, but Rain doesn't want to leave Andy behind, so she gives her the genome and tells her to leave with it. After she leaves, Kay uses one of the injections on herself, considering it a good interest for her kid. Going back, she removes the module from Andy and reboots him, bringing his true self back. They are then attacked by the xenomorphs. Meanwhile, Rook tries to make Kay take off, telling her others died. Rain timely realizes they can turn off gravity to shoot those xenomorphs without burning the ground. Her hypothesis works as they go for the elevator region, but some parasitoids still attack her. This makes her late to reach for something before the gravity purge. A xenomorph saves her from falling, while Annie saves her from the xenomorph after. The two manage to reach the ship timely and give Rook control as the station impacts the ring. She then disconnects Rook after putting Kay in the cryopod and tells Andy she's taking him with her to Ivaga. Before she can get in the pod, Kay's pod gives an alarm and she opens it to find Kay breathing heavily. Her neck shows the reason, and soon she gives birth, but to a weird cocoon. Rain rushes to get it out, but it starts burning with acid, so she throws it. It burns and falls in cargo before Rain can freeze it. Rain goes down while Andy goes to see what is happening. The monster looks like the monstrous version of an overly fast but half-grown human as it attacks Andy and comes for Kay. Rain rushes back, but it is too late to help Kay. She then uses the cryo-fuel, but the monster throws it, making it blow and spread out the cold. Rain rushes to another room where she puts on the spacesuit for temperature and oxygen. She then tries to get the cargo parts separate from the ship, but the monster attacks her. She uses the acid in its leftover cocoon to burn the floor and hang out with her rope, but the monster attacks her there as well. Rain manages to separate it timely as the monster flies away with that part. Managing to survive, she puts Andy in the cryopod as well and records the cryolog as the last survivor of Corbellin, mentioning that she doesn't know if she'll reach the Ivaga system or not, but she's ready to face whatever comes her way. With this, Rain signs off and we never get to know if they reach and survive or not.